WWE Backlash France just ended, the first WWE Premium Live event from France and the first show they've done there in years and years and years. So there were 5 matches on this show because nowadays WWE pay-per-views are like not, they don't have a lot of matches on them. Even WrestleMania has 6-7 matches a night. You know, maybe the days of having like 15 match pay-per-views are over. And I kind of understand why, because it gives the talent more time, but it also leaves off some talent. However, when it came to this show, the story of this show was not the talent, even though they all tried their hardest, and there were no bad matches on this show at all. Like, this show was, this felt like a really, really good house show with a main event that I feel is a really great main event for Cody's first title defense. You understand what I'm saying? I thought it was a solid, we're going to get into more detail about that in a minute, but what I wanted to tell you was the story of this show, without question, was the crowd. From before the show even started and even last night on SmackDown, this is one of the rowdiest crowds in company history. And when a crowd is that rowdy, all it does is make the show better. So I'm watching the show and I'm enjoying it because the crowd is just into everything. They're singing all the songs. Like, it was... These people were happy WWE was in town and they finally got a big show. And also they may have been that loud because, and I know soccer games have crowds like that, but we're talking about wrestling here. And I will say, you know, WrestleMania crowd was good. Dynasty from AEW had a great crowd. So crowds are getting better, except for like those empty Dynamite shows that don't draw people. And I'm not saying that to diss AEW. I'm saying that because you can tell the difference. Like, you can tell when there's less people in the building. But the crowd, what I was going to say was, the crowd by the end of the show, though, this might be a controversial opinion. I don't know if you're going to agree with me or not. It did kind of get annoying. In the middle of the AJ Styles Cody Rhodes match, and I was putting up with it throughout most of the show because it was fun, but this AJ Cody match, they're having a very New Japan Pro Wrestling style match. Obviously, they were both in the Bullet Club. They both wrestled in New Japan roughly around the same time. Not exactly, as Cody said a bit later, but there was a lot of New Japan. Like, the main event had a lot of, finishes, and they had transitions that were later reversed. They did a lot of storytelling within the body of the match, so it felt like something right out of the Tokyo Dome, and it was a good match. I mean, it was a very, very, very good match. But by then, dude, like in the middle, it's like they weren't even watching the match. They were trying to get attention for themselves. You know what I mean? They were trying to get themselves over, and I'll be honest, it kind of hurt. It hurt the match, I feel. Like, the match was great, but I'm saying, for me personally, you may not agree with me. Let me know in the comments, do you agree? Like, by the end, I kind of wanted them to chill out a little bit, okay? But let's talk about the beginning. So the show opened with RKO, which is Randy and Kevin Owens. That's a perfect name for a tag team, against Tama Tonga and Solo, the new leader of the Bloodline. And so they go out there and they're brawling, right? And then they're brawling and they have a bunch of like officials out there, including some indie guys, including Petey Williams. That's right, the inventor of the Canadian Destroyer, Petey Williams. I wonder how he feels about having his finishing move be completely bastardized by AEW. I wonder how he feels about that. But he was out there trying to split up the fight or whatever. And then Nick Aldis came out and made it like an anything goes match. So they're brawling all over the building, you know. This was a lot of fun. Tama Tonga had a really good showing for his first match in WWE. Obviously, we didn't get the Tama Tonga that we get in New Japan with, like, you know, the never open weight type of match where it's like the two big guys. He was brawling mostly, but it was good brawling. Like, the match there was a spot in the match where Kevin Owens does a splash from like the guardrail, and then Randy teases doing it and just jumps down. It was really funny, but really, really good match with a surprising finish. So people have been waiting for Jacob Fatu and Zilla to debut in the Bloodline, and a lot of folks thought Fatu was going to debut this show. But no, it was actually Tama Tonga's partner from Gorillas of Destiny, Tangaloa, who I didn't even know was in WWE. I was asking the friends that I was watching the show with if he was still in New Japan. Then boom, he pops up in WWE. So he yanks the referee out. This lets the heels, the Bloodline, get the pin. after the Uranagi on the chair and the Samoan spike. And it's a good, I mean, I knew the Bloodline wasn't going to go down. It's a good first win for the Bloodline in the Solo era. And Tama Tonga and Tangaloa doing the Bloodline pose. Just incredible, dude. The Gorillas of Destiny. The Bayley, Naomi, and Tiffany Stratton three-way match was really, really good. Like I said, there were no bad matches. I actually feel like this match, the three-way for the WWE Women's title between Bayley, Naomi, and Tiffany, I actually liked this match more than the two women's matches at WrestleMania. I thought this was a stronger match than Bayley versus Io and then Rhea versus Becky. And that it was good. I'm not saying those weren't good. Those were great. But this one because it was a three-way had a lot more action. Like a lot more action. They worked really hard. Damian Priest and Jey Uso I thought was another good match. But prior to that, there was a not behind the scenes, but a backstage segment where Jey was alone and then the new Bloodline walked by him, and then Jey looks at his brother Solo and then looks at Paul Heyman. They don't attack him because I guess that part of the feud's kind of done, but there was no mention of Jimmy or any of that stuff. But yeah, Jey went out there and had the match with Damian Priest, and he lost once again because of the interference of the Judgment Day, because at one point JD McDonough interferes, Finn Balor tries to interfere. They eventually do interfere and actually help Damian Priest win the title, but then after the match they start arguing with each other and shoving each other because Damian Priest did not want to win the match with their interference. So when Damian Priest said that on Raw, I don't remember him saying that. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying maybe I was in the bathroom or something because I do not remember the segment where he said that. However, it happened. So I feel like that right there, that segment followed up with this, is the beginning of the Damian Priest babyface turn. There is no question that at some point very soon, Damian Priest and the Judgment Day are going to split. And I don't know if Drew McIntyre will become the new leader. I don't know if that's what they're going to do, but I do know that it's happening. Damian Priest is absolutely going babyface. By the time we get to Clash at the Castle, that I predict that Clash of the Castle is when the Judgment Day will screw Damian Priest. I believe that's going to happen. I believe that Drew McIntyre will win the title, leading to an eventual Drew and CM Punk match for the title later on, whether it be at Mania or maybe Royal Rumble. I don't know yet. But I'm telling you, without question, the breakup is happening. They're teasing it already, and it's a good idea. I mean, it's classic wrestling. Wrestling's done this for years and years and years, and it is predictable, but I'd rather have a predictable angle than one that doesn't make any sense, right? I like surprises if they make sense and if they're cool. So Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill won the WWE Women's Tag Titles from Kairi Sane and Asuka, the Kabuki Warriors. This was the absolute best match Jade Cargill has ever had. She's in there with three great workers who helped her out a lot, let me tell you. Watching this match, this is going to sound like a backhanded compliment, but I'm just going to tell the truth because I'm being honest. Jade Cargill is getting better, but she's still green. You can tell that she was out of position. You can tell that there was a little bit of a miscommunication there a couple times during the sequences. If you've been watching wrestling for a long time, you can pick that kind of stuff out. So her timing, Jade Cargill's timing, is not quite where it needs to be with the rest of the women. However, this was her best outing ever. This one match, I think, blew away her entire AEW run. This was a better match than her matches with Statlander. This was so much better. Jade Cargill looked great, too. The presentation, the music with the lighting, all that stuff is just incredible to see. But the spot that blew my mind, first of all, was when Bianca tossed her to Jade. She did a German suplex. That was awesome. Sorry, you might hear my friend sneezing out there. I still have company over. And then the spot that blew my mind is when she was up in the powerbomb position. She flipped her around, brought her down, put her arms around her, put her legs behind her, and put her in the implant buster, dude. That is the coolest thing I've ever seen Jade Cargill do in the ring. That blew away the body slam that she did to Nia Jax. And I predict that now they're on the same brand, so that match might be coming sometime soon. You know, obviously Nia Jax gonna feud with Bayley next. I believe that's what they're doing, but I'm totally gonna we're gonna get the Jade Cargill and Nia Jax match. We're gonna get it at some point. Maybe SummerSlam, maybe WrestleMania. I don't know, but great showing for them too. And they also, and after, so it was a good match. They hit their finishers to win the KOD, and it was a big victory for them. So they then announced the King of the Ring first round matches, and they're doing Drew McIntyre versus Finn Balor. So it's almost like and that's heel versus heel. So they're already kind of teasing that perhaps they're going to end up working together. Kofi Kingston versus Rey Mysterio, Ricochet versus Dragunov, he made it in there, and Gunther versus Sheamus. And you know that's going to be a classic because they have had classics all throughout the past couple years. Zoe Stark, Ivy Nile, Shayna Baszler, Zelina Vega, Lyra Valkyria, and Asuka, and Io Sky and Natalya is going to be for the women's, the Queen of the Ring. So that's coming up on Monday. Main event, Cody Rhodes, AJ Styles. I talked about it earlier. There was no interference, nothing like that. It was just a match. It was a New Japan Pro Wrestling styled main event. We saw moves. We saw a story. We saw them try to out wrestle each other. We saw reversals. That's what the match was. It was like the opposite of the Cody Rhodes Roman Reigns match. And that's good. Like, that is good. But it wasn't, like, both matches are good for different reasons, right? The Roman Reigns match was like the end of the long story, but tonight's match was more like, Cody Rhodes the wrestler, Cody Rhodes the athlete, and it was more of an athletic showing. So, yeah, good show, thumbs up, pretty basic show. WWE strategies to do more international shows now, and Nick Khan's whole thing is he wants to sell WWE pay-per-views that are not the big four. So not Royal Rumble, not WrestleMania, SummerSlam, or Survivor Series, or Money in the Bank, the big five. That's the big five right now. And the two Saudi shows, every other pay-per-view, he's going to try and make it international. That's why we have Clash of the Castle and Bash at Berlin, because they're really becoming more of a worldwide company now than ever before. And it's all because of the fact that on streaming, you don't have to abide by those pay-per-view times. So it's a lot easier. Anyways, man, that's my video. Thanks for watching. See you soon.